Hello everybody and welcome back to Juno New Origins, where we are currently working on getting this vehicle through this race. So we need to launch this over at, I believe the R pad was the correct pad, and we just need to get through the race, and this should be relatively easy to do as long as we're pretty cautious with that last run, right? So we just need to go as quick as we can and accelerate down here, not that we have much acceleration. We have good top speed, but our acceleration definitely leaves some to be desired. That said, we definitely had a good amount of time left over on the last run. We just got stuck. So that is absolutely fine. I think we have lots and lots of time to get through this. We just need to execute it correctly. So let's get down this runway here, and then we need to get out and around and pull our way through. We just got to kind of take our time and not try to rush through it too much. That's the overall goal here. Okay, so we're pretty much at our max speed right now, and we're going to hit this checkpoint dead on and begin our turn. There we go. And we're just heading on... Ooh, that's very slippery. Okay. We're just heading on over this direction for now. There we go. And then we're going to go into this checkpoint. The real issue with the checkpoint here is this lip. So I'm going to use our brakes, slow ourselves down a fair amount, because we're definitely going to need to take this a little bit more cautiously going through here. So we go through there, and then we go through the checkpoint, which... we just kind of go underneath. And then we go around here. And then into this hangar. Like that. And then around this way. Into the triangle of barrels, which we mostly avoided. And then around over here. And then the real question is, how are we going to hit the angle that we need for the jump, right? At the same time as having enough speed to actually jump. So we're just going to have to take our time. We've got 3 minutes here. We have so much time. Okay, coming around over this direction. There we go. Get this relatively lined up. Got it. First try. And then we were destroyed. But it's okay. We don't actually care. So we're just going to save the craft because we completed the contract. So that's perfect. I mean, I'm not happy about losing the car there, but it's fine. So we've next got this Spaceport Esperanza habitation module contract. Okay, 200 million is the budget. That's understood. So let's go into the space station launcher here. And we know that the space station is a little bit bugged, but we can fix it. I'm not too concerned about that. So we're going to load in our space station launcher. And let's remove the fairing here and remove the Nexus cross. We don't need that there. The next component that we're going to be adding to this is the habitation module. 64.7 tons. I can't help but notice that this is getting larger. Okay. So this is monoprop. Does this have any RCS on it? I don't know, but we could definitely increase the size of this monoprop a bit. And at this point, we don't really have a fairing that fits this, right? So we would need to expand out this fairing. Actually, the fairing width is probably good right now, but the fairing height would have to go up quite a lot. And then we would enclose it something kind of like that. Now, I don't know about our thrust to weight getting this thing up there. I think this weight is probably similar to what it was previously. Yeah, we're going to change our selected launch location. So let's check the staging here. The habitation module is going to go in stage 5. So we've got all of these engines firing, the interstages, that is okay. We may expand the fuel in this center stage to match the radius of the rest of the rocket. So this is currently 2.5 meters. Okay, that's not really adjusting the way I want it to. I've even adjusted DPI here. Let's zoom in a bit. That is not what I wanted to do at all. Undo that. I want to grab this guy and 2.5. There we go. So that's what I wanted to do. And now we probably have some bad positioning on these stages here, right? So I want to zoom in here and like clip the camera inside so we can grab this guy. I want to detach him, and we're going to reattach out over here. Something like that. So that'll be fine. Now we need to double check the staging. Inner stages look good. Fairing, yes, 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 yes. I have no idea. I doubt that the thrust to weight up here will be any better than what it was. It's probably worse. Do we want to have this monoprop? The answer to that entirely depends on whether we have any monoprop thrusters up here, right? So let's go ahead and save this. Let's put this out on the DSC launch pad. We don't have any height issues. Okay, that's good to know. So on the DSC pad, now the question is, do we have monoprop? Looks like we do. Okay, so let's see what this is like for thrust to weight. I doubt we're lined up for the, I really doubt we're lined up for the space station here. Yeah, we're very much not. So this is not going to be a good timing. I just want to use this as a thrust to weight test. Let's see how this goes. 1.28. That's pretty low down here on the ground. Let's give it a go and see how this works. And yes, you can see here, this is still fundamentally broken. That's fine. If we check the career here, we can see, yeah, this is very normal. This is exactly the same way that the rest of these have worked. So we'll just do that the way it's supposed to and complete it via save game editing like we have in the past. It's just bugged. It's okay. The real question is this rocket design okay to get us there? We could boost up our fuel tanks up this way somewhat. That is a theoretical option. But our main issue here is payload mass. So that's something to think about. How are we doing on fuel here? We're at about 50% fuel on the boosters. Okay. So thrust to weight is definitely improving. We're up over 2 now, and the apoapsis is going up, but this is still quite slow, right? We haven't built up very much speed, and let's see what this ends up feeling like as we get up closer to orbit. Altitude is looking kind of okay. We're at about 30 kilometer apoapsis right now with a third left in this fuel. That's not terrible. Our timing is still bad. We're going to revert this no matter what, for sure. But let's drop this down to about a 15-degree pitch at this point, and let's see what this feels like. Time to apoapsis is increasing at this moment. We've still got 15% fuel in these side tanks. Altitude is 35 kilometers. Okay. Thrust to weight is getting really high right now. Let's see if we have heat issues. And our current thrust to weight is slightly over 1 at that point. That actually feels kind of okay. Let's move this down to a 0-degree pitch. We don't need additional apoapsis here. And we're high enough that we can ditch the fairing. Get out of here, fairing. That boosts up our thrust to weight to 1.38. This feels okay, actually. Interesting. I expected this to need additional power. Orbital velocity is currently 2.2 kilometers per second. We have about 2.2 kilometers per second left in this. This feels really doable. Like, shockingly doable. Do we have solar panels on this? We do. They're just kind of hidden. They're clipped in right now. We should move those out. That's because we increased the size of this tank. This is still going to be incredibly low thrust to weight here, so that is absolutely noted. And we're just getting lateral velocity right now. We need to get that lateral velocity up about another 400 meters per second or so, but we'll still have like 1.2 kilometers per second in this stage. This feels good. I don't think there's a problem here fundamentally, which is remarkable. We'll shut down engines at around 150 kilometers, I think. Okay, engine shutdown. And at this point, all we need to do is go to the apoapsis, which is like right here. Yeah, plan burn at apoapsis, and we would put this out like so, circularizing it at right around 150 or so. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is just a proofing flight, right? We're in a very wrong inclination. So yeah, this is looking very good. Let's put ourselves into orbit and see how much fuel we have left. This will be 257 meters per second. So we're going to have like a kilometer per second left after achieving orbit here. And that doesn't count what's in this stage, which is going to be like not much, but enough to get us docked up and return this to re-entry to achieve our contract requirements. No, this feels really nice. I think this is fine as is. I'm actually very shocked about that. We're going to have to undo an exit because our timing is wrong, but that proofing worked really, really well. Let's clip in here and grab these guys because I want to move them out and just attach them on over here. Okay. We can just have it be angled like that. That'll be fine. So that looks good. I think we are absolutely fine to do this. So let's put this out on the DSC pad again, and we're going to have to wait to launch until we are approximately in line here. So let's set up our Spaceport Esperanza here. There we go. And it looks like we're going to be on the descending side this time, which means we need to go to a heading instead of 60, we need to go to a heading of 120 here. And we definitely don't want our monoprop running now. So we're going to set it to be something like that. And now we need to warp time forward. And I want to focus here. We're going to need to warp time forward until we are in line with this orbit, which is going to be out over here, the descending node, which is why we need to go southward instead of going northward. Okay, let's just line up this view, and we'll wait until we are roughly in position. It doesn't have to be perfect, but good enough is good enough. So right about... this is pretty close. I think we can wait a little bit longer. Right about now or so. Okay, let's launch this thing. Let's get out of here. That is some very healthy looking fumes. I'm actually befuddled that this worked as well as it did. And we might even be in a somewhat decent transfer window here. It doesn't really matter, though. I'm not concerned about the transfer window. I just want to launch ourselves into a correct-ish inclination. So we can see here that our current inclination is not listed. Amazing. If we go in here, we can see that our current inclination is also not listed because this is not actually our vehicle that we have selected. There we go. So we can see here that our inclination is going up. We're currently at a 16-degree inclination. That seems fine. So our apoapsis definitely needs to raise up here. No doubt about that. We've got this nighttime launch. We could have waited until daytime, and then we would have wanted to launch northward instead of southward. And the spaceport is maybe going to be passing over us before we get up to speed. It probably will, in all honesty. Like I said, the position of the spaceport doesn't actually matter to us all that much here. We just want the position of the orbit so that we get the inclination correct. Okay, so we're currently at about 25 kilometer apoapsis. At about 40 kilometer, we'll drop this down to 45. So right about now, we'll drop this right on down to a 45-degree pitch. Start working up that lateral speed. And then we'll burn here until about 60, at which point I'm going to go probably fully horizontal. So we'll just take this down to here. I don't know. We might be building up too much speed here. Let's take this up to 15. I want to get that apoapsis up a bit higher. Okay. Now we can drop it down to a pitch of 0. We're going to be ditching these side boosters shortly. Okay. There they go. That's a messy detach, but it doesn't actually seem to be a problem. So that seems good. We definitely have some heat up, but you can see the heat is dropping. So that is a very good sign. Okay, we're just going to burn here until we're at an apoapsis of probably about 150 kilometers. I felt like that was very, very decent there. And as our surface speed builds up, well, it's our orbital speed that we're mostly interested in. But as our orbital speed builds up, we can see that the spaceport is not catching up quite as quickly. And what's our current inclination looking like? 28.58? Yeah, that's definitely improving. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be very, very, very close. We should definitely ditch our fairing at this time. Off it goes. That'll boost our thrust to weight. We really probably should have ditched the fairing a little bit earlier, but this is fine. We'll extend the solar panels now. We are in vacuum at this moment. And time to apoapsis is holding at 80. Yeah, I'm actually flummoxed that this just worked out of the box. Remarkable stuff. Time to apoapsis increasing. We're going to be hitting a 100 kilometer apoapsis shortly, and that's just going to keep going up faster and faster and faster. Cool. As I said before, a target of about 150. How much burn time do we have left here? We've got 25% fuel. Okay, that's noted. I mean, I could have checked down here. That would have told me that too. 125, 130, 135, 140, 145, engine shutdown, but I was a little late on that. 156. Okay, that's fine. 156 is absolutely acceptable. So we'll just circularize this up, and that's not going to take much DV at all to get that done. Okay, let's turn down this sensitivity a wee bit, and we're going to target 156, a full circle here. There we go. That'll be fine, and let's align, and let's do that burn. Excellent. So we might be a little bit early here in terms of being in an ideal rendezvous window. Like I said, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that we need to be in the same inclination, and we're very, very close here. You can see we're off by 0.59 degrees. So at this point, we're going to go to the target's descending node, and we're going to put this at exactly 30.02 is what the current is. Okay, so that's fine. Let's turn down the sensitivity a wee bit. Okay, like that. So that's going to be 78 meters per second. It would have been like 700 meters per second if we had tried to go with the previous launch instead of timing it. So that is a significant savings. Excellent. You can see that we are currently getting further away from the spaceport Esperanza. This is not surprising. Lower orbits move faster. So we are currently pulling away from the spaceport. And that probably means, like I said, that we are going to have a bit of an issue with our rendezvous. Yeah, so that's not shocking. We're going to have to take an orbit or two. So let's warp on through, and let's see what it would look like if we were attempting to bring this in up over here. Probably going to have to take another orbit here. Yeah, that's for sure. So we were definitely a little bit early on that launch, but I really, really don't mind it. So what are we looking like if we are up here? Oh, this is getting close, I think. Where is our position on this? Nope, we are not getting close. Another orbit. Okay. Yeah, that's still not getting close. We definitely launched too early, and that means that we're in basically the worst possible transfer window. It's fine. Yeah, you can see here, we're off by a lot still. No doubt about that. Time for another orbit. Around we go. And I kind of want to warp around to here. Okay, so if we were to look at that... Yep, again with the terrible transfer window. But it's fine. This really doesn't matter because this just costs time. It doesn't cost fuel. And we're not timed on this mission anyway, so it's absolutely fine. So at this point, we might be starting to improve our transfer window somewhat. Hang on. That's actually a decent transfer window up there. Sure, this is acceptable. So let's warp around and do that. So that's going to be 334 meters apart. And let's bring this on up. 92.0 meters per second, huh? Okay, 313 meters. That sounds good. Let's switch into target mode and let's warp up to about here. Turning on the nav ball. I want to move into target retrograde. That's anti-target. I want to be target retrograde. There we go. How much fuel do we have left in this thing at this point? 792 meters per second. That's a lot, actually. We don't turn all that quickly right now. So that's absolutely noted. I'm going to burn about here. Dropping down that target speed a little bit. It's a very minor burn that I'm doing right now, but we're just doing a small correction. Okay, back to velocity retrograde. Down to 84 meters per second. And yeah, you can see 377 kilometers. We're a little far out, but I wanted to use that gimbaling to get our tumble stopped. Our reaction wheel isn't really big enough for this entire assembly to make, like, fine maneuvers, right? Which is not at all shocking. This thing is kind of big at this point, but we have 800 meters per second left in it, and I don't want to throw that away. So I'm going to turn on warp here to get our tumble a little bit under control. Okay, so we are currently 19 kilometers out. I want to warp in a little bit further here, so I'm going to warp to about here or so. And then we're going to need to rotate ourselves. Actually, we need to go the other direction. I was confused on the markers. We need to come this way and push these together. Okay. I'm doing a very small burn here. These engines are extraordinarily powerful for what we're trying to do here. I'm just going to burn here for now, and you can see our closest approach is getting closer, which is what we'd expect to see. I'm just going to keep burning here for the moment, although I want to change our angle slightly. Okay. Something kind of like that. Now, we're approaching the Terminator here, and I definitely like to do the docking on this on the day side. So that is absolutely a concern. Let's lock our velocity to retrograde, and I'm going to warp in about 3 minutes here. Okay. So now we can adjust this again, and we're only at 15 meters per second at this point. So these should have very significant changes. I want to change the overall angle of this much more than the speed. I'm cutting the engine for the moment and letting us drift into position. There we go, about like that. So you can see here that we're definitely going to be going into the dark side, and that is not ideal. Let's go ahead and warp out over this way. 1.55 kilometers is understood. Only 6 meters per second separating us right now. So that's anti-target. I want to lock velocity retrograde for the moment, and let's just bring this up like so. Okay. I want to kind of just bring us down to a parking speed at this point, and then we'll do a get closer once we're like over here or so. So let's just bring this down to a parking speed. And this is kind of drifting on us. Okay, about now. 0 meters per second separating us. That's not probably technically true, but let's go ahead and warp this out over this way, where the plan is that we're going to burn towards target a little bit. And you can see we built up some speed here, which is not necessarily shocking. This is anti-target, yes? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to lock velocity retrograde here. We're going to kill the speed between us. And let's just dial that back a little bit. 3, 2, 1, and 0. Okay. Now I want to lock to target. There we go. And this is our current rendezvous position. That's fine. So I want to burn in towards the target a little bit, very, very gently here. Okay. We probably want to move our burn position up over here a little bit. Maybe down like this way ever so slightly. We're just pulling these two nodes together. Okay. Something kind of like this. That's about as good as we're going to get. Now I want to lock to target retrograde. That'll be in 3 minutes. Let's get this rotated right on over. There we go. And we're going to need to kill this speed eventually. Right? But let's go forward about a minute here. There we go. And where are we right now? About 1 kilometer away. Looks decent. Okay. So I'm just waiting for a bit here. We're on velocity retrograde. I do want to start dialing back this velocity a little bit. I want to bring it down to around 5 meters per second. And I also want to move us out this way a little bit. Okay. Cutting the throttle there. And let's just put ourselves about here. Okay. Velocity retrograde. We're down to 5 meters per second. Okay. So now we can see we're going to be 20.9 meters away. Let's warp this in about a minute. There we go. So at this point, we just want to coast on in. I have no idea what docking port this is supposed to connect to, but my plan here is actually to fix the bug with the contract at this stage, and hopefully then it'll tell us where we're supposed to connect it to. That would be ideal. But it is about time to put a cut in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to gently ease down our speed to about 0. And then I'm going to make a save here. There we go. So let's end flight and save flight. Save and exit. And then I can, at this point, fix the save and hopefully get the contract working correctly. And then we can dock this up next episode, would be the idea. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Atala, Andy McGar, Ali Lee, Dark Horse Xenocyte, Hiro Marutsu, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.